It's time for the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Powerful and liberating business strategies you can start in 5 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, Dean Soto.
Hey, this is Dean Soto, founder of FreedomIn5Minutes.com and ProSulam.com. And we're here again with another Freedom in 5 Minutes episode. Today's topic is this: don't be afraid of your special skill. That and more coming up. Well, good morning, guys. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, everybody. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day today. So, as of recording this, the cover of the new Freedom in 5 Minutes book has been completed, and I'm going through the editing process of the entire book. And as I'm doing that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to edit a lot. It's so funny how the first part of writing a book is, you're going through it, you're like, oh man, it's just so tough writing and getting all this done in the morning or whenever you're doing it, and you're writing and you're writing and writing, and then when you're done, you're like, oh good, I'm done with that. And you're thinking, oh man, your book looks absolutely like it's gonna, you just gotta do a few minor edits and you should be all good, right? Should be all good. Well, as I'm looking through all of the chapters, I'm like, wait, what? What was I saying here? What was I doing here? Why did I say it that way? Do I speak English? Oh, man. But that's where the magic happens, is through the editing process and the paring down and all that other stuff. So we'll see. It might even be published by the time this podcast episode comes out. And so yeah. I might even be doing a free book on the Freedom in 5 Minutes site. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, pretty crazy, guys. I'm excited. I am excited. So, all that being said, so the part of the book was based around this particular subject that I'm going to talk about. And yeah, so I think I've mentioned before that I'm a part of a group of guys who are really high performers. And it was neat. It's neat because, over time, starting to see, oh gosh, I just remembered I had to respond to someone. Man, I want to put a reminder on my thing to respond to this one person. Anyway, keep on forgetting to respond to this one other organization. It's probably not meant to be right now if I haven't responded. I'll just go with God's the whole nudging process. So anyway, so going with your special skill kind of follows along with this. So growing up, I've always been a kind of like a little bit of a troublesome, not in like getting in fights or doing anything like that, but troublesome in not following the status quo. Okay. Troublesome in not doing necessarily things how my grandma would want me to do it. Or anybody who loved me would want me to do it. I always kind of did it my own way, right? And usually that resulted in one of two things. That was my way of doing things was one of two ways. One, it was being lazy and putting things off to the very end, or finding some way to just get the thing done, and that was that. And the other way was to simply not do something. And sometimes people would flip out, right? You're supposed to go to college and you're supposed to go and do these classes that take a whole semester. You're supposed to do all of this type of stuff. That's what everyone does. You have to do it that way. Well, I always had this knack of finding a better way of doing stuff. So, for example, my college courses, I was just kind of doing whatever through college. Didn't even really care too much. and I was like, there has to be a better way of doing this. This just sucks. And at the time, full online courses were just starting to become kind of mainstream, right? And on top of that, there were other things that people didn't realize. So as I'm going through college, I was 23, 24 at the time, because I had been just kind of floundering about for a while. I'd been going to community college for a little while, and taking a class here and there, but nothing really too serious. And I'm like, I'm having fun. And it's not really that much of a priority. And then, which I've told this story before, my wife wanted me to have a degree before she married me. And I was like, okay, well, I really want to get married to you, so I will make that happen. So I'm like, how in the heck am I going to do this? I want to get married to her in like 2.5 years. I barely have any lower division courses, right? Any. And so I'm going through and I'm like, there has to be a way. And there was, right? So I did a couple of different things. One was these, what they were called CLEP tests, CLEP tests. So CLEP is you basically take this test. If you pass with, I think it's like 60% essentially. If you pass, you get credit for that entire class, that entire course. So an entire semester, what you would have spent 3 months doing or 4 months doing, can be done in a matter of like 2 hours. And so I'm like, this is really cool. So I started taking those CLEP tests, and I passed most of them. Some of them I didn't pass, so I had to go and take them. But the ones that I didn't pass, I did the next best thing. I started doing the online courses. So that way I could maximize my time at home. I didn't have to be sitting in a class. I could just maximize those times. And then at the same time, as all of that was going on with the lower division, I went to National University, which was an upper division school. And at the time, by the way, at the time, I was also I was able to get into Boeing Aerospace because I said that I was going after my bachelor's degree, and that was enough for them to accept me on, at least at the time, which was awesome. And they paid. It's one thing about that company that was really awesome. They paid for all of this schooling. And so I then at the same time, I'm doing upper division classes online, which people are like, online doesn't work. Online is not, you're not going to learn anything and whatever. And guess what? They were right. I did not learn much. I didn't learn much in any of my classes. I didn't learn much in my high school classes. I didn't learn much in any of my schooling, my 15, 20 years of schooling, whatever it was, right? I didn't learn much. And you probably didn't learn much. The whole model, in my opinion, is wrong anyway. So you didn't learn much. If you're a baby boomer, you learned more than a Gen Xer. If you're a Gen Xer, you learn more than a millennial. If you're a millennial, you learn more than a Gen Zer. The scale of learning curves downward. So, but I digress. While that's going on, I'm doing upper division and lower division. Boom, 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 all online. And I was able to do it all in about 2 years. So 4 years down to 2 years, right? And so that's always been my skill is kind of doing the lazy way of things or finding the most effective, efficient way of doing stuff just because, like, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing, okay? And I used to think that was such a bad thing. I used to think that there was something wrong with me. I used to think that I was doing things the wrong way. And at times it got me into a lot of trouble. In times it saved my butt. But one thing that, and this is just recently, one thing that I have been able to start doing, one thing I've been doing is take ownership of it and to actually see that, wow, this is a gift that was given to me. This is a gift that was given to me for a specific purpose, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to flow with it. I'm going to go with this gift and utilize it in ways where I would otherwise have otherwise would have just, seen it as a burden or seen it as like a thing not to do and not take full advantage of it. And that's what's been going on recently is really all of my content online, my talks, when I go speaking engagements. I mean, I have, as of recording this, I'll be speaking at WeWork in Southern California again. I'll be speaking at Spaces in downtown LA. I'll be speaking all over the place. But taking full advantage of this way of enjoying the gift that God gave me. Does everyone have this gift? No. I can already tell. It's funny because I would get frustrated. I would get frustrated that people didn't understand this. That I would be like, look, all you have to do is this, and you would make like 3 times as much money. Or all you had to do is this, and you would have 40 extra hours a week to do whatever you want. And they go, really? Oh, yeah, you're right. And then they wouldn't do it. And I get so mad and so frustrated. But they have their strengths. Like I have friends who, they don't see what I see, and I help them, and I don't see what they see, and they help me. And so the more that we're able to do that for each other, and the more that we're able to accept that, hey, I have certain gifts that only I can do and only I can see, and I'll help people who want to be helped, which that's a big thing. Not everyone wants to be helped. You can only lead, you can't save. I'll lead those people who want to be led into better things through my gifts, and I'll be led by those who are going to help me with their gifts. And anybody else, I'm not going to get mad at. I'm going to understand. In fact, I have one guy who got a virtual systems. So first off, we got on the phone and he was a jerk. And then about 3 months later, he asks to have another phone call, wants a virtual systems architect, gets one, pays. This is a guy who has a lot of money, by the way, pays for the virtual systems architect, and then goes dark for like 6 months. No joke. And now just reached out to someone, reached out to my partner and said, hey, can you reintroduce me to the guys with that virtual systems architect? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so Like, for people like that, I would have gotten pissed. I would have gotten so mad. And now I just laugh. I'm just like, whatever, it'll all work out. It all works out in the end. But why is this important? It's important because you have gifts that you are not just utilizing, fully embracing. And those are gifts that you can see over and over and over in your life that have gotten you farther and farther and farther. And it's time. It's time to start embracing those gifts. It's time to have the courage to see that those were given to you for a reason. And the faster you embrace them, the faster you're going to be able to not only bless others, but bless yourself. All right, so this is Dean Soto. I'm going to end this podcast. We're going to land this plane. And if you want a virtual systems architect, actually, you know what? If you're not subscribed to the podcast, go to Google, type in Freedom in 5 Minutes, and whatever podcast app you like. It could be Apple Podcasts. It could be Spotify. It could be Stitcher. It could be whatever you like. And more than likely, I'll be on there. And subscribe to the podcast to get it whenever you like. And then, once you've done that, it's time, maybe, to get a virtual systems architect. So go to freedomin5minutes.com or prosulum.com. We have a lot of good things there. And maybe let you go about and get a little 5-minute automation, systemization of your business. Systemize your entire business in little as 5 minutes per day. All right, this is Dean Soto, Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast, and I'll catch you on the next Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast episode.
Thanks for listening to the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast. Now, head over to www.freedomin5minutes.com and register for our free masterclass and discover how to start systemizing and automating your entire business 5 minutes at a time. We'll see you next time on the Freedom in 5 Minutes podcast.